mistake.
Me either.
Okay.
If it's him telling me.
If there were times that you guys played each other, remember that time, Dallas, you played Nick, and, create some sense of your history together as well. That you've actually crisscrossed on this path of this journey would be really cool. So let's just shoot it, and then, we'll cover it, and we'll get some shots of you guys individually and together as well, and try to forget what the cameras are, and never look at the camera.
You'll be tight, so I don't have to go under.
And we're just standing here like this.
Well, I think,
Relax, like Lou will be at the end here.
Lou, why don't we-
If I'm talking,
Yeah, like-
you guys are like focused on me.
Yeah, you could be like, I think, I'm interested more, frankly, in the characters, the placers, the promoters, the weird trips.
I know you're worried about blue shadows, but to be
less
honest
about,
with you, you'll be able to get to them
less
a lot quicker
statistical.
than we will. So as long as
It
you're
doesn't
set,
almost matter who won.
we won't
You're
see
not
it.
neither one of you on a white
It's
shot.
a story. Be storytellers. You've seen those shows.
That would be the only
storytellers.
time you really
Tell
see
some
it
fun
if
stories.
there's one.
I'll tell you a fun story. Let me
Okay.
know when you're ready.
All right, but give me an in, Lou. Give me an in, like, so my announcers, Vescursion, Sigel, and so forth, and Mike, would probably say, I played against, I know all these head people. I know all.
Yeah.
Charlie
Lou,
was
Lou is
around.
going to start. Charlie, let's pull you out. Just for the moment. Stay with me, Charlie, so you can help me with this. Should we get more balls on the table? I think we're just thinking
Something colorful.
Yeah.
Throw something colorful up here.
I mean, we have Lou already, but something else colorful.
Oh, the reflection from my
We have
head.
them on
Like
it,
this
yeah.
room.
I didn't say that you did.
I know. You were leading up to it.
Don't grab that belt
Just
off the
trying
table.
to mess up our content.
And guys, even
I'm
this,
just hitting on him.
even though this feels
Doesn't
clearly
get
like
it.
we've staged this for television, try to make it as extemporaneous and fluid and real as
Well,
you can.
these guys have never heard this story.
Oh, good.
It's gonna work out.
I actually have a story about all that.
I think I got one you haven't heard of either. Tell us when.
I'm gonna start off wide shot and then we'll go in.
Be careful, because I'm going to be swinging around here.
What are you using right now?
Two shot right here.
Two shot, okay. You ready, John?
Who's going to start talking?
I am.
Gelder.
Hey, John, we're rolling.
All right, guys, just free flowing, freestyle.
A little higher in the boom.
He always starts though, so.
I'm gonna start off on a wide shot, Mick, to establish, and then I'll go in tighter. Okay. Rolling, John.
And action, Lou.
Okay, I'm not gonna say I'm hard luck, but I played in my first world tournament in 1964. At the end of 4 matches, I had a total of 37 balls. I played the greatest players in the world. I went up to my room, and this is where the hard luck comes in. I opened the window on the 21st floor, straddled the window, drank a bottle of scotch, and with my luck, I fell in.
Well, I can't say that. I think probably the first time that I played my big tournament was in 1965, and I heard about all these good players. I got invited to Chicago round robin, and I'm Don Tozier, Don, and Don beat me the first day, and then I had to come back and beat him in the final, which I did. The guys that were with me bailed out of the car. They wouldn't come back. They said, "You can't beat this old guy." So I win the tournament, and then after I win the tournament, I got a $250 check. That was no good.
That's what, do you know, you remember Sigel Extet?
Yes.
Those were like the promoters, that's who I remember. Like when I was little on the East Coast and going to the tournaments in Connecticut, everybody would come from all over. And yeah, you're winning like, you have to win the tournament to win $500 and you already spent, $1,000 on expenses.
Right.
So pool's come a long way, thank God.
Oh, no kidding. My favorite story like that was, kind of now and then, was when we played at the Clyde Children's World Open in Kentucky, Richmond, Kentucky. We were playing, and all of a sudden, I'm finally playing really, really well, really good in a tournament. I think it was 1984, and I'm playing my idol at the time, which was Loree Jon Jones. And she was the one that won all the 9-ball tournaments back then. And I was actually had 4-2 in the race to 7, getting ready to break, and all of a sudden, the doors just bust open. We get raided by the FBI. Well, not we, the guy that held the tournament. And were you there? Did you remember that? You remember
Oh,
that?
yeah.
And they shut the place down. There was a crooked crap game in the back, and we're there playing a World Open. I mean, we had nothing to do with obviously with the promoter, but those were the kind of situations we were always faced with back then. So.
Well, a lot of guys, when I first started playing, when you were trying to win tournaments, they said, "Well, winning these tournaments is hard. The competition's so hard." I said, "Well, I tell you what, if you think winning's hard, I said, try to collect first place." You had to keep one eye on the table here and one eye on the promoter to be sure he didn't head out of Dodge.
Yeah, that's right.
I like the traveling. I mean, I loved going all over the world and some of the experiences, and you know, Ava, in Taiwan. Oh my gosh, getting lost. Yeah, do you remember getting lost?
And we got lost on the E-train or
on the
whatever it was,
E-train.
and we didn't speak any. They didn't speak any English, and needless to say, we didn't spend too much time when he did with
Joanne
our.
Parker and I stood there. The doors closed, and we were like, we had no idea where we were going.
Well, I love
It was
Johnson
brutal.
City. Johnson City was fantastic. I played in Johnson City like 8 years, and you had all the hustlers from all over the country, card players, anybody that could do something was in Johnson City. I mean,
That's a part of pool that they'll never replace.
they'll never replace that. And the guys they had all them nicknames, you know.
All the great nicknames. Tuscaloosa,
Squirrel.
Squirrel, that's it.
Yeah.
And Fast Eddie, and who else?
You had
Knoxville Bear,
Detroit, White,
Deacon,
Knoxville
Detroit
Bear.
White, you had all the great players. One of my funny stories, when I was playing fast, when I was younger, I played fairly fast.
Fairly.
I had to.
Now
I was
play
playing low one time, and I had to call a foul on him because he shot the 9 in, and the 8 was still hanging.
That's a good one.
The story I was going to tell about speed was something like that. I played Alan Hopkins in a world tournament, and he had just taken a shower and walked over from the motel, and our match was almost immediate when he walked in the door. And I ran 150 and out at him, and I asked him how it felt. He says, "My hair isn't even dry yet."
There was a lot of them. It was a lot of fun.
Did you ever win Johnson City?
Never won Johnson City. In fact, I finished second to Ed Kelly one year.
Did you really?
And my wife, we just got married. We were married a year. We went to Johnson City, but I think I had $320 in my pocket. Pulled into the lot, got out of the car, walked in. 4 guys were playing. There was Eddie Taylor, Ronnie Allen, Jersey Red, and I think it was Mike Sigel. They was playing $10 ring game. I said, you got room for another one? We just pulled in the lot. Ain't even got a motel yet. I lost 32 in a row. My wife, she goes to the car. I come out, man, she, we ain't even got a motel yet. I said, don't worry about it. We'll make up. 3 days later, I had 1,300.
And collected.
And collected, because you got it each time you played.
Well, I remember I was only 17 when I came here from Sweden, and to come to this, and it was a lot more gambling. You couldn't really make a living, obviously, as we all know back then, just playing in tournaments when I first got here. So there was, the tournaments were finished. That's when the real action started every night, and it would run all night. And I remember sitting there watching these guys that I had read about in the few pool magazines that existed back then, and was in such awe and watching them play for 15, 20 hours. And sometimes it wasn't for more than, $5 a game, but just to play. There was so much action back then for any amount of it could be for $5,000 a game, it could be for $50 a game. But the sweaters, we were still lined up in a row watching it. It was great.
5 or 10, they
I was
played
in
for
awe.
$5 and paid $10 on time.
I know.
I know.
Mickey had
didn't
a
have that
story about
many,
how we met. Why don't you tell them how we met, Mickey?
Yeah, I was going to college. I weighed about 95 pounds.
If that.
My game in pro, so I thought, well, I'll go up around Chicago and see if I can get any action. And anyway, I run into this guy. First time I met him, I think it was about 68 or something like that. Anyway, he had this big reputation, so I said, well, just let me break the ball. I'll play you some. He said he looked over me and he said, I didn't think he could break the ball. So he said, yeah, you can have the break. And a couple sets later, he cried, uncle.
Well, we broke even, but I mean, it was good to that point. It taught me a lesson that no matter how weak the guy looks, he might have a strong break. And you did, and you still do think
You know
that.
what was always sad about watching like people playing for money was listening to the 20 hours. They might only play for an hour, but there was 20 hours of negotiation.
matching
up.
Oh my
Oh,
God,
the
matching up.
Years
Well, I'll
ago.
give you this and you give me the breaks. No, I ain't gonna do that, but I'll give you this and this and this, and then I'll give you the breaks.
Years
And
ago, the
Like
big
selling
thing
a
there
car.
was people might be playing for their rent money. You know, if they miss the next ball, they sleep on the park bench. It was a little different then.
where's the
Today,
note?
people
Must
have
have heard that
backers.
one.
You have people playing in the IPT for $500,000 this tournament. I mean, I never dreamt in my wildest dreams that we'd be playing for $500,000.
We used to just pretty much play for our own money. I mean, it was like a
Well,
giant
that's
ring
basically
game. Everybody
the
put in their
giant
entry
ring
fee,
game. Everybody
and
put
play
in
for our
their
money.
entry fee.
and you played for it. And you were lucky if there was money added. And like Nick said,
And
if
you
there
were
were
lucky
money
if
added,
if
are they
you were
going to
lucky
pay
if
up?
The promoter didn't run away with the money.
oh, absolutely.
And that happened more than once.
I got a great story to tell you about Jersey Red. He just come from the World Tournament. He finished third in the World Tournament. I was 16 years old working in a beer, well, they call it a pool hall. We're trying to refine it a little bit. So, and Red says, you want to play some? And I'm working at the counter. I says, yeah, I'll play some for $5 a game. So it took him 8 hours to beat me out at $40. So that's an hour a game. I break like King Kong, you know. And his wife, Dottie, keeps saying to him, Red, come on, we got to go. He says, what are you worried about? He said, I can beat this kid. She says, I know you can beat him, Red, but we got to go. Well, she's telling him it's tough action. What are we doing here? That was fun.
St. Louis was my favorite to watch when he got in action. My favorite part was when Louis got knocked out of the tournament, because that's when he started being entertaining. And it was sad because he was such a mess, but man, was he fun to watch. What a charismatic human being. I mean, he would huck the same cue 9 times. You know, he would
The
be
same
playing
day.
the same
Same
day.
day.
He'd be playing somebody, and he'd run out of money. He says, "Here, give me 200. I'll give you my cue at the end." Then he'd go over here and he says, "300. You got my cue." And then he had to sneak out the back door. I remember he did that at the U.S. Open in Virginia.
Chicago, everybody started closing in on him. He'd done that.
Too many times.
He had loaned money to these guys, about 5 or 6 guys. All of a sudden, they started wanting to take possession. And anyway, so Louis matched up one last set. He said, just let me play one last set. So about the 3rd game, he missed the ball, and he just went. It was just
Broke it. So
I
nobody
took
would
care
get
of
it.
that. Nobody wanted it. I hadn't heard that one. It's good. St. Louis.
Guys, just stop for 1 second. Let's just stop time for 10 minutes. Excellent.
Stand by.
So give me that, the lead in, Nick. When people think about pool, they think about Moscow and Fats, and then go with your story.
Okay, we're rolling.
When people think about pool, a lot of times they think about Minnesota Fats. And when I got out of college, I thought I was really a good player. I won the national league tournament a couple of times. But I really, on the pro level, I just thought the pros never miss. So anyway, a guy kind of took me under his wing named Hubert Coates, and he really gambled, and he really played a game called one pocket that I was always fascinated. Straight pool and one pocket just were fascinating. So anyway, I played with him about 6 months. We got to playing good, and anyway, he said, let's go play Minnesota Fats, because he was a real good friend of his. And he says, a lot of people don't know it, but Fats will lose a lot of money. He says, he gets his nose open, he'll really go off. He said, a lot of people think he won't play or anything. So we go over there, and he lived in a small town in southern Illinois, not too far from Johnson City. He lived Dow, right next to DuQuoin. Where for years they had that big horse race, that Hamiltonian. They just moved it a few years ago back to New York, but they had that most prestigious race. So anyway, we go over there, and we're at Fats's house there, and he's showing us his scrapbook pictures with all the Playboy bunnies and the movie stars. Finally, the guy's whip says, Fats, he said, we were ready to cover you, look at your scrapbook. He said, we came here to bust it. And Fats says, he says, just relax. He says, there's plenty of time. He says, I'm going to take you guys out to a nice dinner. And then he says, we'll go play then. We go play. A friend of his had put a house. Fats didn't even have a table in his house, but a friend of his did. And he just let Fats go. So we went over there and played a lot. I just couldn't believe how he played. He just played like standing up in the air.
And banked everything.
Here we're playing for a lot of money, and he just like standing straight up in the air. I thought we were like practicing him. What an experience that was.
The other story about Willie, when I was in New York playing in the World Tournament, I heard that Willie was going to puts his own cue down, puts the Paradise cue together, and runs 137 balls in the afternoon exhibition. It's pretty good for, you know, opening break with a cue you never hit a ball with. And in the evening, he turns around and runs another 139 in the evening exhibition. I went back to the tournament. I said, any of you guys think Moscone can't play this game anymore? I said, you're all crazy. Because they said he didn't play in the World Tournament because he still couldn't play, because he had had a stroke. He could play. Up until the day he became a little senile, he could still play.
He could still play even when he was a little senile.
Yeah.
He was phenomenal.
He
When I was
forgot what he
little,
was doing.
I was lucky because Charlie Ursetti kind of molded me, I guess, you know, when I was little on exhibitions and everything. So my first exhibition was with Willie Moscone and Minnesota Fats. And it was just, I was so nervous. I remember shooting my little 2 shots in Chicago and everybody clapping. And I knew, like, at that moment that I wanted to be like them. I wanted to have that, you know, that feeling of people clapping for you and that excitement and stuff. And one thing, now if you went to Minnesota Fats' home, I was there. I was doing the show, The Big Blue Marble, and they had Minnesota Fats. They had me go to his house, and he kept saying, "Yeah, he had so many stories." They always said he had over 100 cats and dogs. I will never forget this. Over 100 cats, and you know, and you're like, yeah, right, whatever. But when I went there, swear, he had well over 100 cats, maybe 200 cats and dogs, all over. He had a fenced yard. He had all beautiful, beautiful like crates for the dogs, like lined up. The vet came that day, gave all of them shots, fed all of them. His wife's out there just feeding feeding all of them. It was just the most. It showed to be a loving side of him, that he loved animals so much that no matter. And I said, when do you stop? He said, now that I don't come in my yard anymore.
He's pretty strong to go to Kentucky Fried Chicken.
He could eat.
That's a story I heard about him one time. He was staying in a hotel, and he called down and he said he wanted a turkey sandwich. He said, a sandwich? He said, yeah, send up the whole turkey. And he did. He ordered the whole turkey.
I believe it.
Guys, let's just stop for 1 second. Let's talk. That's great. That's great stuff. Great stuff. I'm going to ask you one more area to explore, and we'll finish it up with one final, which is really about.
Yeah.
And, you know,
He's real.
Eva, why don't you start this one? Why don't you start with this one? You know, guys, now that we're talking, you know, it's not a land.
oh yeah, yeah,
You can't like dominate the whole
right.
conversation. Now we have a chance.
Yeah.
Here's what does he?
Yeah.
Right? That'd be fun. Who's going to start? Eva.
Everybody ready? You need a second. Wow.
Oh no,
Nobody needs-
we just whip off the top with him.
You got her? Okay, we are rolling and set.
This is so nice. We have like time to all talk and tell our stories. You know, if Sigel was here, we wouldn't get one word in twice. This is refreshing.
Wait a minute.
No, I know. Yeah, thanks. I remember first time I met Mike. I was I had known him a little bit, but we had never really talked. You know, when Mike's in a row, Mike talked. We never had an actual conversation. And then in 1988, I signed with Brunswick, and Mike was with Brunswick Billiards at the time, and we started doing a few exhibitions together. And you know, it was the easiest money I ever made because he never shut up. So once in a while, I said, "Do you want me to do a shot?" Okay, so I did a shot, and then I went and sat down, and Mike just, you know. There's a reason why he's called Mike.
Yeah, but he's so humble, you know, he never talks about himself, does he?
No, ever, never.
Mike-
Actually, someone said if you put a frog in his pocket, he could sometimes maybe say we.
Wait a minute now. Listen, I'm telling this story. Just hang on a little bit here. Well, come on, Mike. What about I'm telling this story. Now, you got to let me tell the story. It takes about 15 minutes. You're right. You can't talk.
When I talk to Mike on the phone, literally, and I hope he doesn't end up watching this particular one. I guess he is. But I'll put the phone down for a while and then go do something, do something quick, come back, and he doesn't even know I've been gone.
Well, I'm telling you.
He doesn't need two people having a conversation, that's for sure. But you know, you got to say one thing about Mike on the square. He is one of the greatest players that ever lived. And if you don't believe him, all you got to do is ask him.
No, but that's for sure. The guy can play is absolutely spectacular.
I used to have more arguments, honest kept working. When Efren came over, you know, Mike or Efren, like in Mike's prime, and I said that it's not even close. I mean, in all the games, to me, and I'll probably fight with you because I can see your face right now, but I really did think that in his prime was the greatest player.
Mike,
Well, different
Mike
players,
never
different
had
players.
this venue, so to speak. He never had a chance to really get out there and talk the way he's talking right now. I think he could do more for the game, more good for the game right now than has ever been done. Fatty tried it. Fatty did it. Fatty made a reputation out of talking about the game. I watched Fatty do an exhibition one time. I nicknamed him Pied Piper of Pool because he played 4 trick shots, missed all 4 shots, and when he walked out of the place, 250 people followed him out into the parking lot. The place emptied out. You know, and that was all true talk. And I think Mike is going to do the same thing. He can back it up with his pool play. He didn't do it with his mouth, believe me.
I played every Maharaja from here to Timbuktu. That was Fatty, but I can hear it coming out of Mike's, you know, mouth.
I think it's a lot easier like on Efren, where Efren don't have to worry about the 90th barrier because he don't say nothing. You know, so he can really get into his game. And Mike, he's going 90 miles an hour to try to loosen up to tell everybody all these stories and everything else. And then he's trying to promote himself too. So it's a lot harder to play when you're trying to do all that.
Very good, guys. Oh, Dick, did you have something to say, or we're?
Yeah.
You gotta have something about Mike.
In one of the matches in the U.S. Open semifinals one time, and anyway, he's leading 9-6. And I'm cornered up, and Mike was sitting right behind him, and he says, he turned to my wife, before I ever shoot, he says, I'll tell you what's going to happen here. He says he's going to kick this ball. That's exactly what happened.
Mr. Ed
She
Bernal.
told me that after the match, I couldn't believe that he had turned to so good. I never knew that day after the match.
It's only
Incredible.
he was trying to set the stage for himself. He didn't really think you were going to kick it in. Let's tell the truth. He was praying. He might have thought you
I
were
tell you one
kicking it,
thing,
but he
I've
was
known
praying
him
for you to
for
trip on the
30-some years. I've known Mike for 30-some years, and that's one of the few times when the cat had his tongue, because
Well,
he
that's
told
all
me, he went back to the room, he said that was one of the worst losses he ever had. He said he went back to the room, he packed his bag, drove straight from Norfolk to Baltimore. He said that was a bitter tale there.
That's something I would never admit to knowing Mike 30-some years. I mean, I don't think anybody really knows Mike.
That's very good, guys. That's good. No, it's excellent, excellent. Let's wrap it up. The final question is, playing, you know, we've been playing pool a long time.
Yeah,
and
we've
this-
been, I myself been playing, and all of us here been playing.
Yeah, sorry, I was
I'm picking
rolling
up
yet.
again?
Yeah. Okay, and set.
I've been playing probably about 50-some years. I've played in probably 500-600 tournaments, maybe 1,000 tournaments. I don't know, there were so many. And when I got the call about this tournament, and to all the Hall of Famers, he told all of us guys what he was going to put up for us to get into the game and play the game. We're all thinking, wow, this is crazy. We really believe that this is happening. But the one thing that always stuck in my mind about pool is that everybody was saying, there's no way that this game is going to go. They're just not going to make it. There's one way that it'll go. We'll get somebody a lot of money, somebody who plays the game that was simple. Then it might go.
That's what Kevin did. Kevin's a pool fanatic, and he was friends with Mike, and Mike got in his ear and told him how lucrative it could be. And let's face it, pool has never been promoted like this and may never be promoted like this again. But while it's here, I'm going to try and take advantage of it. And I'm thankful that my son is young enough to take advantage of it. You know, I might only have another 30 or 40 years left in me.
He stopped by to see Kim Taylor on stage tournament, so we're not age to practice with. He's got one of his favorites. Let's go on. PGA Tour was just to make top first was 3 million. And what's the first one?
Yeah.
Hard to believe.
Do you know, I think I think it's more, sorry, what's more, the most amazing part to me is that other than doing exhibitions and some sponsorships, some of the players and sponsorships, all of us, and even more so you guys who are back in the Minnesota Cats days, the limit pool was just something that was unheard of. I mean, there was no such thing as unless you wanted to go out there and gamble and hustle and no way that other sports had any idea how fortunate they've been. I talked to a friend of ours who's a football player, who was a champion football player for 6 years, and he made the first 3 years, he made $150,000 in 3 years. And that sport has gone to this point. So this is just, you know, we were there when, which is a pretty cool thing to be able to have been in the good old days, but thank God that we're a chance to be here now, that we're taking this.
Just to be a
You know,
part of
you
it.
know,
I love it.
you know the sad part, I used to be like, I'm always optimistic. I mean, I'm an optimistic person, so I always said to myself, you know, pool will make it, pool will make it, pool will make it. Well, after like a few years ago, I said, pool's not gonna make it, and I was pretty much retired. And that phone call came from Kevin, I have never been so excited in my life. And to think that, yeah, you know what, to think that my kids, when they pick up a cue stick, I'm going, play,
Yeah, right,
go
that's
practice, you know, and beforehand I was like, no, don't play pool, go play golf, go do something else, and now I'm encouraging them to play pool, and that's something I never thought I would do.
Well, when we was kids,
let
for
my
crying out
kids
loud,
talk about pool.
the girls couldn't even go in the pool. Women didn't even go in the pool.
I used to go to a
It
forum
was
that said, on the sign on the door that said no women or dogs
Yeah.
allowed. So.
nice to be there to be Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, that was very cool.
That made me a believer. That was such a great production. It made me a
Is
believer.
that right? That's good. I saw it on TV, but I wasn't there.
Well, I think a lot of people too were so, they just didn't believe it, because when you've been in this game long enough, how many times have we heard promoters that come and say, oh, I'm gonna do this and we're gonna do this, and we hear promises of that, and we hear, and then here's somebody that actually followed through, and I think that's where a lot of the skepticism came from early on. You know, this is too good to be true, so it can't be.
Everybody was skeptical.
But who knew?
I was ready to say,
Check raised.
what
Did
was
you
the
really
first
get
question
that
you
big
got
check?
asked?
Yeah,
Did
you
you
really
cash
get
the
a check?
check?
Did you cash the check?
Yeah.
Did it clear?
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, of course, you know, but
Well, I still carry my check with me, and I tell everybody it did clear.
Thank you, guys. That's fantastic. Let's get some shots now. What do you guys need? What I
Mick.
Everybody else keep talking, but
We have short shots. But you just gotta listen to him. He's telling the story.
Rob, don't let him hit right now. Don't let him hit another shot. I just need.
he's getting one more shot up there. You guys just keep talking amongst yourselves.
Camera, just, you could be against the table there if you want. Thank you. Yeah, tie my level, so like this.
Okay, do me a favor. Just go ahead and lean down. You don't have to hit it this time. This will be the last shot we'll do. Yeah, just hold that pose, basically. And look up at the camera and smile. Perfect.
Do the same thing, and when you do that, turn and do it to this camera also. So, but do it from the same position, like where you just were. Whenever you're ready. Great. Thank you.
Okay, who's next?
Slower, maybe.
Good enough. We got enough of that, right? That was enough. Okay, I'm finished.
Okay, one more. We're going to get you also hold the cue ball close to you. We'll just do a look at the camera, and then that'll be it. Okay. Stand by. Do not hit it. Do not. Look at the cue ball. Look at the cue ball. Yeah. And when I say go, just look at the camera and smile. And smile. So do you want one, Andrew?
I got it perfect on
Okay.
this angle.
Thank you.
Great.
Next. Okay, I'm rolling.
Rolling.
Okay, so let's do our pose shot now.
I was a little weak on the eagle, but all right, it went.
Do you want to do it again?
Huh?
Do you want to do it again?
Yeah, you know what? just so in case you know.
I had a feeling you did.
It was just a little wobbly in there. I like hitting it right there and seeing if it goes. All right, so what do I do?
You're just gonna, like you're getting ready to make a shot, and then when I say when, you're just gonna give us a look at the camera and give us a smile. Okay, stand by. We're rolling, and smile. Andrew, you want one?
Same thing, but to me this time. Whenever you're ready. Great.
Next. Okay, we're rolling.
I'm going to get them just all in the right spot.
No problem. or you need a little more?
I've just been getting tight shots of balls getting hit here, so if you're good.
Okay, now we'll do our pose shot.
Just anywhere?
Yeah. Okay, just hold that. And 3, 2, 1, smile. Beautiful. Anyone?
Same deal, just to this camera now. And whenever you're ready. Excellent, thank you. Got a buggy up in the stands now, whatever. Wandered off.
Try it again.
You get a cut on this one, huh? Her few hits better than mine. I think about 16 or 17. Good.
Okay, we'll do our pose shot now down here.
Okay.
Hold on, let me get set. Okay, so position yourself, stand by, and hold that. And when I say go, you'll just look at the camera and smile, and smile. Do one more of those. You act like you're ready. Yeah, you're queuing it up, and smile.